Hi, it's Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and today we're looking at the new MMB Android CarPlay AI box. So keep watching for my review. So we've already covered the original MMB Android AI box on this channel. It was a USB dongle that you plug into the CarPlay USB port in your vehicle, and the AI box replaced your CarPlay display with an Android operating system. From here you could run any Android 7.0 supported app on the AI box and it will function as normal on your CarPlay display. This was a great way to get apps like Netflix, YouTube, Amazon Prime Video and many other apps and games onto your CarPlay display. Other than its rather old Android OS version, the one feature that was lacking with the original AI box was that it didn't support CarPlay from the box itself. So you had to disconnect the AI box if you wanted to return to wired CarPlay again. Their MMB Dongle Plus allowed wireless CarPlay, but it could only stream YouTube, mirror your iPhone or Android screen, and play any media from a connected USB drive. What its maker, JoyeAuto, have done with this new dongle is to merge these two dongle functionalities together to offer you an Android OS that's also upgraded to Android 9, and it now offers the ability to swap the dongle to wireless CarPlay mode and also allow your iPhone to communicate with your wired CarPlay system wirelessly. In the box you get the Android AI box itself, all in its new blue striped colour scheme. You also get a GPS module, antenna and fuse power cable should your car not come equipped with GPS to support the AI box. There is a bundled USB Type A to USB Type C braided cable to connect to your car's CarPlay USB port, and if your CarPlay port uses USB-C, you can choose to have a USB-C to C cable shipped to you as well. The AI box has exactly the same dimensions and connection ports on each side. The colour is clearly different and the status lights on at the top is also there too. Inside the AI box it has some minor upgrades. The processor, GPU, RAM and ROM are all the same as the Android 7 box, so sadly there's no additional performance gains to expect here other than what the new Android 9 software brings to it. There is a new 5 GHz Wi-Fi module now inside this box, so with that you get an increased bandwidth for wireless CarPlay and also to your smartphone connection when tethering your mobile data to the AI box. So that's most of the hardware comparisons for you. So let's now jump in the car and see how all this performs when connected to your CarPlay display. Right, so we're in the Golf Mark 7. We've got my Alpine system here that you've seen on my other reviews. This is the X902D G7. It's quite an old model now. And we're going to be installing the MMB Android 9 box onto this system. I have previously run it. I've installed a few things, so you don't have to look at me installing those. But other than that, we're going to be going through this whole process. So we're going to be connecting the USB-C end into the dongle itself, and then we're going to be connecting the USB-A on to the CarPlay port of the car, where you would normally plug in your lightning cable to connect to CarPlay. So we're going to connect this into our console down below. I'm going to do that so we can check out the boot time as well. So I'm going to do it now. So that's now plugged in. You can see it here. It's all connecting, and we're going to have a flashing light. That's now going to flash and boot up. And then in a minute you're going to see CarPlay pop up on my display before, and then soon after it's going to kick into the actual and there we go, and we're into CarPlay, and the audio will start playing as well. So that's basically the general boot up time of the actual unit itself. CarPlay functions as you would expect through this dongle. Let's just quickly show you the delay. So about 1 to 2 second delay, just to prove that this is coming from my phone wirelessly. So you can see here, you can see the album art changing in a minute if I tap. So there's a slight delay there, but not too bad. I'm not really that bothered about it too much. Everything else would work as you would expect. Google Maps and just generally CarPlay would work without any problems whatsoever. So to get into the Android system, you got MediaCast. That was a section that you can get on the MMB dongle plus. So we'll be selecting that. The box is now going to reboot with a flag or a variable that's toggled on to say go into the Android operating system. So the dongle will be booting now, and then up we come, and we're now in the Android OS. This is slightly faster than getting into CarPlay, but not that much faster. And after this point, you need to be tethered to your phone. You've got no Wi-Fi here at the moment. You're connected to Bluetooth because you've enabled it for CarPlay. But to get everything else running on Android OS, you need to be connecting it to a personal hotspot. So we're going to set up a personal hotspot here, and I've done that already. And you need to then go into settings, WLAN, and here's my iPhone Pro. So we need to enter a password into here.
A few moments later.
Get connected. Now we're connecting up here, and we've now got 2 little bars here. So now we're online, using my phone as the wireless hotspot, so we can put that away now. And here you've got everything from Google Maps, which you've got on CarPlay anyway, but this is the Android version. Now what I'm going to do is you can buy an optional $15 keyboard, which is going to be very similar to this, which is like a QWERTY keyboard, and then on the other side it's a remote. And then you can toggle a few buttons here and it actually look like a wand, and it will actually do a cursor on here. So you kind of want to use this if you haven't got a touchscreen display, or if you think you're going to use a lot of browsing or email on this. I really recommend you picking up one of these keyboards as well. They're so cheap, and it makes the whole process on Android a lot faster. So you do that by plugging in a little receiver into the USB port at the bottom. That means that you can't do USB media at the same time, obviously. You could probably try a splitter, but I don't think that will work. And then once you've enabled it, you can see this cursor that I use with the remote control, and it shows up on the screen. So that's really handy. So you can tap on here, then I can enter my Google account. We'll take the data from your phone again to show any map data that's nearby you. It'll also triangulate your position through your mobile data if you don't want to use the GPS dongle. That I don't really recommend. If you're going to use maps, I would probably boot back into CarPlay. If that was me, you're going to get a much better and richer experience through the navigation apps on CarPlay. But if you've got an Android phone, for example, you might want to use this instead, and I would then recommend that you connect up the GPS dongle if your CarPlay doesn't support it. So it warns me there to use location services to locate you a bit better, which is a little bit easier for maps to locate where you are exactly. I find it a little bit laggy using this method, so it's not something that I would recommend. So you've got things like YouTube. Just like the MMB dongle plus, you have the ability to stream YouTube from the dongle to your CarPlay display. That is no different here compared to the Android 7 box. The experience is pretty much exactly the same. So we've logged into our YouTube account here. You can see all the videos of the CarPlay, and I'm going to select one. Hi, it's Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and today we're in a different environment. We're in a new vehicle. We got a temporary Ford Fiesta 2020. So you can see that's perfectly in sync with my speakers in the car. You've obviously got this floating option that you're going to have to bring around. So I thought it's the perfect opportunity to test. You can drag and skip to certain sections, and all this is coming from my mobile data. Roughly the similar time you'll see in the so that is YouTube. Like you said, you can dip back in. You can play again. You've also got split screen on this Android 9 box, which is super handy. It brings up YouTube that I've got currently live because I pressed it within that app. And then you've got the menu of choosing whether you want maps or any other app that you've got available at the moment. So we're going to choose Netflix. That doesn't do split screen, so that just dumps you back out. Split screen is not supported. Unfortunately, that button has to stay there. So we're in Netflix. You can choose to download if you want to, or you can just literally play an episode or a film. That's going to stream from your phone data and kick in straight away. Again, you've got scrubbing. All that works perfectly fine. So you can see here you've got like a picture-in-picture mode. It might be quite difficult to see in the sunlight, but that means you can, once you've got something playing either in Netflix or YouTube and such and apps like that support it, you can actually have that video playing anywhere whilst you browse the web, or if you're going to basically go anywhere else. You can't scale it up as such. There's no real pinch and zoom. You drag down to remove it. There are settings to let you allow picture-in-picture mode on certain apps if you think you need it. Other than that, you can just bring it back to full screen by tapping that option there, which is quite handy. So everything here, it works perfectly fine. Netflix, that's that in a nutshell. We'll just close that off now. Phonecast is basically if you want to do streaming from an Android phone, or if you want to stream from your actual phone itself. USB drive, where you can connect a USB drive full of samples. So I've got a USB stick here full of samples, audio files, video files, and so on. So we're going to boot that. You can see it's booting up now. And we go into USB drive, and then here's all of our content split between music and video. And you can just literally tap, and it will start playing in its own player. And if you come out, you've got this little window here that's going to keep telling you what is being played through your media. You've also got video. So you've got some swipe gestures in Chinese here. I assume that's to skip to between different samples, which is quite nice. So this is now showing you MKVs, MOVs, and all those file formats that are available. Plays it no problem. Obviously it stops when it's finished rather than going on to the next one, but that's all the tracks that are available, music and video, and you can either view it through tiles or you can do it through a list. And there's obviously a drive safety warning there just to remind you not to watch video while you're driving. So that's coming all from the USB stick. Next we've got settings. That's your internet connection, help, changing language, setting your time zone to a zone that is nearer to you. That might help with certain apps on the app stores. You've got accessibility, where you can change between vehicle position and the box position for potentially navigation. I'm not really quite sure if it's checking and it's going to enable it or not, but I've tried vehicle position and it didn't really work for me, but I've left it on car box position instead. Then you've got factory reset, general settings. Here you can make sure that it automatically boots automatically into CarPlay, which is really handy. That's a feature that came to the MMB Dongle Plus in an update. Driver alerts to let you know not to watch video. You can clear cache for any Android apps that are hogging up memory. Product improvement program, and you can change the display size to suit your display. Factory mode, you would do 0808 and then hit complete, and you can turn on and off certain apps in the display, such as if you haven't got Google Play available, you can turn that back on to browse the store. You can turn off Google itself, File Manager, BT Music, and you can actually turn CarPlay on and off if you just want to have Android only available in the user interface. Next, if you've got a Bluetooth phone, whether you're the phone that is active at the moment or a partner in the car wants to call someone out using the microphone in the car and also the connection of the dongle to your speakers, you can switch device, dial numbers, check your call records that are over Bluetooth, and contact your contact list if you share it. CarPlay will boot us back into CarPlay. You can change the theme of your background. There's not many to choose from here, which is quite sad. Hopefully more updates will give you more opportunities there, but you basically hit apply and then it applies in the background of the dashboard. And then over here you've got more apps where you can literally download any app from the Google Play Store that supports Android 9. And from here you can check your version. That's a standard app that comes bundled, so you can see Android version 9. That's the app version at the moment, Series 2. And then you've got the resolution of your display. And here, if you've looked at my previous Android 7 AI box, you'll see that the specs are pretty much exactly the same, as well as the 4GB of RAM and 32GB of ROM for apps that you might want to install on it. This just tells you how to upgrade the dongle to a new version, and I've covered that in a previous video. Car's going to take you back to the car system. That's something that's on the home screen by default, and I've moved it. Google Play will literally load the Google Play Store where you can download any app you like. This is signed into my account, so you can get TomTom and things like that. Or you can search for things like, say, Spotify, and then install it. And that will download in the background. Or we could try Waze, if you prefer Waze. Install that. And across all Android apps, you'll always have this floating menu as long as you're touching the screen. After a few seconds, it will go away. If you were to leave it like that, so about 3 seconds it will disappear. And you can check out my other Android 7 video. The process is exactly the same. The type of apps that you can play, I show you that you can play Candy Crush and all things like that. Anything that runs on Android OS you can run here. So once they are downloaded, they will all appear in the More Apps section. There's a GPS test. If you've got the dongle module installed, you can actually check to make sure the module's working. That's really quite nice. Google Assistant there to check up on things. What's the weather like?
It's 62 and partly cloudy. Today it'll be partly cloudy with a high of 64 and a low of 54. And tomorrow it'll be rainy.
There you go. So that's that. Clean up for cleaning up any memory hogged by other apps. You can browse the web with Chrome. Check your other media via VLC. Spotify was just installed, so we'll launch that. So using my Google credentials, it managed to find my account and log me in automatically. So that's really cool. And again, you just have this interface being blocked by this UI, so you might find that you're constantly moving this bar around depending on what app you might be using. So the luxury is that you can actually use my wheel controls to skip left and right. I didn't think that was originally possible, but that's allowed me to skip through these tracks, and obviously volume obviously works because that's linked to your system. So that's really cool. If I hold down the microphone button, I can get out the Google Assistant, which is quite handy. So we won't be doing that. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. So everything comes through on the audio there, so that's that. If you come out, the audio is still going to keep playing unless you quit the whole entire app. So I've cleaned the memory there, that will just dump the app from memory. So here we have Waze. So again, like Google Maps, we're going to be limited based on the GPS performance, either of your data, your mobile data, or whether you will be using the GPS module, or whether you've got GPS in your car that this AI box works with. And again, we're going to have a UI floating over the top, but once you've let go, it will go away whilst you're navigating. So that's quite handy. Here we can just use the same microphone functionality to enable Brighton Station. So navigate to the station car park. Let's go. Let's go now.
Let's take A259, Marine Drive, and A259, Marine Parade Brighton and Hove. Arrival time on this route is similar to A259, Marine Drive, Wilson Avenue, Brighton and Hove.
So you can see that it says no GPS showing your approximate location, so that's because I'm using my phone and I haven't connected the GPS dongle module from the AI box, and my car doesn't support it. So that is something you would have to do or consider before buying, if that's something you'd want to do. But like I said, you could just boot out of this back into wireless CarPlay or CarPlay with wired if you took the dongle out, and you'll be able to proceed using the CarPlay nav apps instead. Let's just try a game just to see how well that performs. Again, mobile games are obviously in portrait, they might not all be full screen. Obviously some games might not be formatted for the screen orientation, but as long as you've got a touch screen, they're all going to be very much part of their game, and they're all going to be pretty much playable as long as you've got a touch screen. So you can pretty much play any game as long as it's got touchscreen support. I don't think there is a controller support, so there's something you probably might not be able to do there. But again, that just proves that you can play any old game on the Android OS. So we've got iPlayer. That will get us watching live television if you choose the channel mode. So here we have iPlayer. If we go from the menu and then we do TV guide, you can just hit that. And then we got live television from the BBC playing on our CarPlay display. Pretty cool.
It's been a long time coming, but it's finally here. The Euro starts 11th of June across the BBC. Good times on BBC iPlayer.
And obviously you got on demand as well that you could play from, and it's all accessing from the data from your phone. All right, so that was iPlayer, or any possibilities really from the Google Play Store, so you can really go nuts on the types of apps that you can use with this, like Sky Go and Disney Plus, Amazon Prime Video, and so on. So you definitely get lots of video content on here, and if you want to dip back to the proper apps with CarPlay, you've got the opportunity of that as well with this box. If you wanted to move any of these apps up into their different arrangement, it's just a case of just tapping and holding, and then just dragging these options on this screen to find to get the one that you want to access the most, and which ones you want to access quicker from the home screen. Once you've done that, just hit the home button. All these will shuffle how you've done it, and then I've got CarPlay on the first option. So look, to boot back into CarPlay, then you just literally tap it, connect your phone if you haven't done already, select the phone that you want to connect to, and this is now going to basically reboot.
A few moments later.
And then we're back into CarPlay. So it's not a smooth experience, but at least it's totally operational. You can have it boot into CarPlay all the time, and you could just dip into Android OS if you want to watch something like on Netflix or things like that. So this dongle is the best of both worlds, the MMB Plus and the Android OS, so it sort of combines the two together. You got the CarPlay wirelessly from your phone, and obviously you've got the Android OS as a good backup to use other apps with from the Google Play Store. If you're worried about connecting and rebooting, I've just plugged in my USB cable into the other port. I'm getting a charge signal on the phone, so that works, and the dongle hasn't rebooted either like some CarLink dongles do, so that's a good value add there with this dongle. Alright, so let's just jump back to the studio and sum up my impressions. So we're back in the studio, and let's summarize my overall thoughts of this dongle. Personally, I think with the hardware pretty much untouched in this new version, we could have really gotten the Android 9 upgrade on the existing Android 7 AI box, but it would have come without the wireless CarPlay functionality. What its maker has done is to merge their MMB Dongle Plus and Android box together to offer a single product that covers both desires. The first is the ability to allow you to use your wired CarPlay wirelessly. This works just as well as the MMB Dongle Plus, but now for the additional cost of this dongle, you also have the ability to run Android 9 and all the apps and functionality it brings, such as watching any copyright blocked apps on your CarPlay screen without going through Apple's own restrictions. There's also split screen for Android apps, and picture-in-picture mode is also quite handy. This new dongle retails for $295, and you can knock off another $20 if you use our coupon code CarPlayLife. The cost of the dongle is a lot higher than most other dongles, but you are getting a lot of extra functionality with that Android OS layer option. I would have liked to see a spec bump to help improve Android app performance, as I've had a few occasions where apps would simply crash from doing too much at once. Like the original AI box, I still think having the option to move the floating screen options to a fixed area to the side or bottom of the screen would greatly improve usability of using Android on CarPlay display, because between using different apps they can so easily get in the way, and you can just sometimes miss-hit these controls when trying to select something else nearby. I would have liked to see native wireless Android Auto support. You can install Android Auto on the Android OS side of the platform, but alongside the floating controls, it can be a little bit cumbersome and confusing to work around it, and it's not as good as a native solution. I would also like to see the GPS dongle somehow integrated into the AI box and not require the use of installing the kit and playing with your fuse box to get GPS into the AI box. Not all vehicles need to use this GPS kit, but it is a technical hurdle that confuses many and it will limit anyone wanting to use any of the navigation apps on the Android side of the AI box. And using mobile data to locate you just isn't a great experience to fall back on. Just like the other AI box though, and also the MMB Dongle Plus, switching between CarPlay and Android OS requires a reboot. I don't expect being able to switch between CarPlay and Android OS to ever become a seamless or fast experience. They are just two different worlds that will always likely require a reboot each time you want to access either platform. You can have it auto boot into CarPlay with the setting turned on, so it can behave just like any wireless CarPlay dongle. And you can also have the added luxury of running Android apps as and when you need them with a simple quick reboot. So if you're after the best of both worlds, then the NMB Android CarPlay AI box might be something worth considering. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. If it has, please leave us a like down below and let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the new MMB Android CarPlay AI box, and I'll try my best to answer them. You can catch all my other CarPlay dongle reviews in this playlist here. Hit the subscribe button down below to catch all my future content, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.